Thank you so much. Thank you to Zubair Saab and the entire Rotary Roshni and all of you here today for the kind invitation. It's a deep, deep honor for me, and I'm very humbled by it. As mentioned, my passion is girl education, and since today's topic for you all is education, I feel very blessed to have this opportunity to share a bit about our Educate a Girl program. So, Educate a Girl actually began in 2012. We have the annual awards for women, the national awards at Ladies Fund, and that was the year, some of you might remember, that Mullah Yousafzai had been shot. And we had 9 months after that shooting, we had searched for Shazia and Kainat, the two girls who were shot alongside her and been forgotten by the world. One 17 and one 15, with missing fingers in the hands, shot in the shoulders. They were girls who were equally harmed by what happened, and yet they'd been completely forgotten. So we actually searched for them in SWAT, and we searched for their families, and we brought them for the award ceremony here in Karachi, which was held in those days at Mahatma Palace Museum. Nowadays our awards are at Sindh Governor House, hosted by the Governor of Sindh, but in those days they were at Mahatma Palace, and we had flown them and their families from SWAT to Karachi for the occasion. Now, these two young women had never been outside of SWAT at that point, and they didn't really speak English at that point or anything other than their own Pashto, and they'd come with their entire families. As we spent a few days with them and got to know them, and we gave them couture outfits, and at the award ceremony they spoke about wanting to be army doctors, so we gave them funding for their education. And I think that although their lives, they always tell us, changed dramatically that day, because thereafter the President and Prime Minister of Pakistan honored them, gave them funding, and the UK Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, brought them to the UK and funded their education. But I actually think my life changed by meeting them. And I know that the lives of all of us at Ladies Fund and Dawood Global Foundation have never been the same. And when we saw these two young women, so ambitious, and the fact that with Mullah Yousafzai that someone could go and shoot away their dreams in being and becoming what they want, it was something that really, really disturbed us. And we began the Educate a Girl program. Initially, we started training girls to become journalists. We partnered with the Institute of Journalism, and the idea was to fund more girls to have voices. In those days, and to some degree even now, there's a few people everyone calls upon for an opinion. If someone wants to have some opinion on any topic, there's the same people who appear on the same television channels or the same newspaper articles or get interviewed, usually. So we wanted to create a space for Pakistani young girls to have their voices heard. And we trained them in everything from basic journalism. 8 have gone on to become news anchors even, and many, many have won awards in writing and so forth. But also we trained them in basic use of their voice through platforms like Twitter and social media. And we saw such a change not only in the voices being heard, but we saw a change in their self-esteem. And one of the things we noticed with these girls, and it was a very organic process, and it's grown so much since then, but one thing we noticed is to try and get a deserving girl who's never, ever really been asked her opinion on anything, especially not in a public forum, to come to the front of the stage and say what she thinks was so hard. To get a girl to volunteer to do so was nearly impossible. There was a lot of shyness, and also a lot of belief that no one was interested in what she may have to say. So finally, when we dragged the girls, it was mandatory that one by one they come up on stage and say what they're thinking. They didn't have to do anything else for stage one, but just voice what was in their mind. The minute they did that, and then we said, you know what, if you tweet that, the whole world can know what you're saying, and you don't have any barriers to sharing that information. And once they got comfortable speaking, we were never ever able to get them to stop. Once you get a girl to chatter, believe you me, she will never stop, if you know anything about that. And it was joyful, because suddenly when a girl who may not know that people care what she has to think, thinks that people may care, it changes everything about her life. And when we take that back to today's topic, which is education, and our specialty at Educate a Girl, which is girl education, every element of a girl's being is dependent upon her self-esteem, her understanding of her worth, and her ability to know that her voice, her opinion, her dreams matter. And education not only enables that, but enables her to figure out what her dreams are. And that's the most exciting part of the process, because at the start she may not know, but through that exposure, that's when the magic happens. And we never ever tell a girl what to do, what to think, what to learn. But as a girl gets educated, that's the exciting part of the matter. And in Pakistan, you may be surprised to know there's wonderful education at the young levels, particularly government schools. There's DIL, there's TCF, there's amazing foundations that are educating girls. Where we step in an educated girl is from 16 to 24, where the girls drop out of the job market, meaning they drop out of school so they don't enter the job market, so there's a loss to the economy of Pakistan. And there's also a loss in that part of their journey in discovering who they are and what they want to do in that part of the experience. So the focus of Educate a Girl is actually complementary to the most basic education many girls, and hopefully as many as possible, get. I also wanted to share one other thing with you, which was when we've been doing these trainings, and we've done like 5,000 girls here, we've done 1,300 in Nigeria, and we've done all across Pakistan. One of them, and now we've moved on from journalism to I guess, financial literacy, sexual harassment rights. We've done trainings on communication skills, on e-commerce, how to make websites, and of course now e-coding. But one of the most interesting experiences is when we do our trainings, we usually have a chief guest at the graduation ceremony. And one time we had the Russian Consul General in Karachi, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, we don't have these conversations in Russia. It's understood that girls will be educated and boys will be educated. It's simply a no-brainer and no conversation. So it really struck home to me that I'm shocked that we're having this conversation. I mean, the laws of Pakistan do not separate boy and girl in this area. Why do we culturally even have to sit and wonder what the girls' rights are towards education? So I've never forgotten, this was not good 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe, I mean, obviously now with COVID, so much time disappeared, but it really was absorbed by me inside, that why is Pakistan a country that has this conversation? It should not even be a conversation. And when the shooting in Malay Usasai took place, one of the things we really wanted, and why we founded Educate a Girl, was because we didn't want Pakistan to be known as the country that stops girls from being educated. We wanted it to be the trailblazer and the best country in the world for girl education. And so we always strive for global levels of education in our trainings. If anyone wants to know more, wants to get involved, whether as a volunteer, whether as a trainer, whether you have girls that you think need to be educated, whether you want to be a donor or you want to partner as a Rotary Club, we're always open to however anyone wants to get involved in this process. But our real goal is to eliminate it as a topic and ensure every girl has equal education. Thank you so much.